I know there's going to be comparisons to Keyleth and the Ashari tribes, and some little show called Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, probably took some inspiration when they were creating it. Let's just move past it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and we are back to do another spoiler review for the Legend of Vox Machina Season 2, Episode 5, entitled Pass Through Fire. This is going to be a Keyleth focus episode of the Legend of Vox Machina, which I think is fantastic because, as we see with this season, a lot of the characters are starting to level up their game, especially if they're going to go against the Chroma Conclave. This is a spoiler review, so if you have not watched the episode yet, please make sure you pause this video, go check out the episode. It's really good, like all the episodes are. Then come back and hear my thoughts on it. And if this happens to be your first time and you're checking me out, this is a weird video to start with your first one, but welcome. I welcome you one and all. My name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do reviews and reactions. I do some discussions, some gaming, some drinking. Just like to have a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy that as well. If you'd like to hear that from a geeky bear like myself, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And it would make my day, and it would help this channel continue to grow. So if you want to see me do more of this stuff, subscribe. I mean, I'm going to do it regardless, but I'd love for you to subscribe. Come on. Subscribe. All right, let's talk about this episode. So episode 5, entitled Passes Through Fire, it starts out with another flashback because we're just getting into everybody's flashbacks at this point in the season. And this one is a flashback for Keyleth, where we get to see her mother named Villia go on her Armente, which is, if you remember, the Armente is like the trial or the test that all future Ashari leaders have to go through in order to pass, where they travel around the world, I guess experiencing new things, and also going around to the different Ashari tribes. So there's Air Ashari, which is Keyleth, and in this episode we get to go to a place called Pyra, which is the home of the Fire Ashari, and also a location of a portal to the Fire Plane, which becomes a major point later in the episode, and also with some of the events that led to the destruction of Iman and the Chroma Conclave's initial formation. As they're still traveling, because they're trying to get to the mountain that they saw in Vax's vision, now that Vax is the wearer of the Deathwalker's ward and now the new champion of the Raven Queen, they have to go meet the Sphinx, who is the mate of Osessa that Osessa talked about in episode 2, sorry. We get a little bit more information about Keyleth's Armente, and we get to see like her mom had gone on a similar one. We don't know specifically what happens to her mom in the show, but if you watch Campaign 2, you know. So that's actually a pretty cool moment that we got to see Villia in animation. They keep making their way toward the temple, and then there's some small conversations that happen here and there. Like I mentioned in episode 4's review, there is a shift in demeanor to Vax'ildan now that he wears the Deathwalker's ward and is now bound to the Raven Queen. I don't think everyone in the crew still knows specifics of the details. I don't even think Vax knows, but he's still having visions and nightmares and stuff like that. Still seeing visions of the Calamity and other visions and more visions, and like a vision of his death as well, which is not great. Puts him in a uncomfortable position and definitely puts him at arm's distance from some of the other members of the group, and especially his own sister. We even see a moment where he tries to remove the armor, but it won't come off. And I think the only person that notices is Keyleth. And I like that we're still getting a little bit more of the potential relationship between Vax and Keyleth while they're still focusing on their own journeys, especially with this episode being so heavily focused on Keyleth and her journey and growing and becoming stronger, and not only her abilities, but also in sort of, I guess, not being so fearful of her Armente, because that's still a big thing that she is afraid of actually doing because she doesn't feel like she can do it. But she's put to the test in this episode for sure. As they're making their way downtown? Towards, I'll say, the Temple of the Sphinx that they're trying to meet because of Osessa, they see that the volcano in the distance where Pyra is is actually active. And according to Keyleth, it shouldn't be active. It should be dormant. The fact that it's active means that the rift to the fire plane has been open and the people are in danger. So she wants to go help and tries to get everyone else to go. But surprisingly to her, the Axe is hesitant about taking more side missions when they have a mission to try to save Taldore and stop the Chroma Conclave. But Keyleth rushes off anyway, and the rest of the group kind of pushes Vax to do do the right thing and go help their friend. This is kind of also showing the shift in his demeanor since he put on the ward, and it is something that he quickly snaps out of, and they all go to help. In Pyra, where she actually encounters her father, who we saw in the flashback, who's there to try to help. And it's a lovely little reunion, but her father also doesn't know that she isn't technically on her armante right now. It's good that she's there to help out from the denizens coming from the fire plane. And surprise, surprise, once everyone is reunited and everyone is helping combat these denizens, they run into not only Lady Kima, but Allura Viceroy as well, helping to try to seal the rift. And they also get a little bit of information about what happened, because remember, all we saw was that the castle and the cloud top crash landed onto everybody, but nobody knows what happened with them. It wasn't too surprising to see that Allura was able to get everyone to safety who was there, that she was able to protect from Raishan initially. So they're all trying to close the rift. Keyleth and her father attempt to try to close it using their power, but it does not work, and her father gets hurt in the fray itself, and she confesses to her father that I'm afraid of my armante, but she steps up to the plate. And what we saw with the flashback with her mother telling her that her power, she's made to pass through fire, and the importance of not being afraid of fire and what she should do with it, she's able to actually press her way through the portal to the other side, to the fire plane. We get to see the fire plane, which is it's an amazing location. And that's the cool thing about this second season, that they're getting to go to all these different planes of existence. And we get to see that in episode 6 when they get to go to another plane as well. While she's over there, she's able to absorb the fire and is able to control it and master it to the point where she uses it in order to seal the rift that was opened up, because the fire plane is where Thordak was sealed at by Allura many years ago, and was trapped there until he was released, and he was released with help. Now, who helped? I have some theories, but I don't want to say anything yet, because I only know one human that seems to trying to help the dragons, and we'll talk about that with episode 6. Yeah, so Keyleth levels up, and I'm just going to say she levels up. It's not like she found a vestige, but she learned to master the element of fire as a part of her armante in order to master the 4 elements and become the Avatar. Sorry, wrong show. But she's able to seal the plate and has some sweet new duds too. And I think her headdress got slightly bigger and it's got like a gem in it now. It's really cool. And I like how as they're discovering new abilities and stuff like that, you're seeing subtle changes to their form or to their outfits or to the weapons that they use. So it's actually really cool, and I'm loving all of those things. So she's able to use this as a way of completing this portion of the trial for her armante. They're able to continue on to the Temple of the Sphinx that they were charged with going to see the mate of Osisa. But before the episode actually does end, we do get a follow-up on our little stinger from the end of episode 4 with Ripley as she makes her way to the West Front that is currently being assaulted, controlled by Umbrasyl with the help of some Goliaths or some barbarians that look oddly similar to Grog, which I think plays a part in a certain encounter that we should be seeing later in the season. Ripley decides to present an offer to Umbrasyl because she knows that Vox Machina is looking for the vestiges of divergence right now. So that's the biggest threat to the Chroma Conclave. So Umbrasyl is very interested in that. But that's basically how episode 5, Path Through Fire, ends. Another solid episode. It was, like I said, it was a heavily focused episode for Keyleth. She got a wonderful power-up, which, again, with season 1 was kind of like the Percy and Keyleth story for the most part, with a little sub-story with Pike. I like how, again, we're continuing on by expanding more with other characters, because while Keyleth is the main focus of this episode, this also is heavily focused on Vax too, with the aftermath of what happened with him accepting the charge of the Matron of Ravens, as well as with a little bit of a character shift for Vex'ahlia, because she likes to claim that she's much more mature now that she has been killed and brought back to life, and she has a newfound respect for life, which plays into a bargain that she makes with Scanlan, because Scanlan is able to decipher some writing on that innocuous broom that they found at Gilmore's that was completely written off as a joke, but turns out to be a broom that can fly. And that actually a big part with Vex'ahlia and her able to assist during the fight, because she can get some higher ground and take out some of the creatures from the fire plane. I love seeing Lady Kima and Allura back in action as well. They're not going to play a big factor, at least in these next couple episodes, because they've got some stuff they're going to try to do. The warning from the leader of the Fire Ashari that someone assisted Thordak in escaping the fire plane is very curious, and besides Ripley's dealings with the Chroma Conclave, I haven't seen too many other regular people or regular beings on Exandria to seem to have played a part with anything with the dragon. Mainly Ripley and these barbarians who are kind of helping out, but I don't know if they're really helping or if they're really just more so under the thumb of Umbrasyl like everybody else is right now. So far, we've only really seen Thordak and Umbrasyl in these most recent episodes, with the flashback with Allura and how she and her team were able to seal away Thordak in the fire plane. But another little thing about Keyleth's new abilities and new power-up, she's also able to now travel between the planes, which plays a factor in the next episode. So that's really dope. Not only can she part trees for them to quick travel to other places in Exandria, she's now able to help them transcend to different planes, which helps in looking for some of the vestiges as well. Another big talking point of this episode is Grog. Grog and his sword, which is actually called Craven's Edge, actually begin to have conversations with each other, which again concerns Pike, especially since she's the only one so far who has seen this berserker side with this bloodlust being caused by the sword to Grog. He tries to understand more about the sword, but clearly the sword has a negative effect. Grog knows this, even though he's a barbarian and he's not necessarily the brightest barrel in the bunch. He does know that something's up. And I think, based off of what happens in the next episode, it's really going to test Grog's fortitude, especially with the words that were given to him by Earthbreaker Grun in episode 3 about where his strength truly lies. I really did like episode 5. I thought it was a really dope episode. I love a good Keyleth-centric episode. I like that we got Kima and Allura back for an episode. I like that we get to see more of the different sort of Ashari tribes and understanding more about that culture as well. Just looking forward to them encountering the Sphinx in the next episode. So that's going to do it for this review, episode 5, Pass Through Fire. So let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comments down below. Let me know if I missed anything as well, anything you'd like to talk about in the comments. I always do read the comments. You don't have to be shy. You can comment. It is a spoiler review, so you can spoil stuff if you want. Like I said, just try not to spoil too far into the future. Let's try to keep it within this block of episodes as best as possible. That would be awesome. But thank you so much for checking out this and all of my videos. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you were new to the channel and this is your first video, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like it. Maybe share it around the internet, and I hope you subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that, and I hope I entertained you at least for a few minutes of this day. You can follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. I do have a ton of videos on the channel right now that you're more than welcome to check out. Make sure you check out episode 4's review. That should be on the channel right now for your viewing pleasure. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.